Because I can't see it. Okay. Y'all just let us know when we're good. Oh, it's good. On cameras.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
did you two meet?
Well, I was on campus at Lane College, and I was standing up by the sub, or what we call the sub, looking out across the horizon, and I saw this young lady walking across campus. And I said, I don't know who she is, but I plan on finding out as quick as possible. So for about a week, I never got close enough to say anything to her. And every time that I saw her getting close, I thought it was her. It was another girl that looked a lot like her. And I was not impressed with her. Well, about a month later, we're on the bus coming from Jackson.
Wow. We were on a bus going back to Lane College. We had been on a break. And we sat next to each other on the bus, not really knowing each other. And so we talked, and by the time I got there, he was just, he took my books and he took my bags.
And that's when it dawned on me that that was the young lady that I've been looking at and wanted to meet for a long time. So I helped her with her luggage, being a gentleman that I was, of course. Chivalry was not dead back in those days.
He actually took my bags and said, would you hold my books? And I forgot to give him his books back. And at that point, I went on upstairs, went to bed. So the next day, he needed his books for class. So he asked my roommate, who was already downstairs, say, tell Carolyn to bring my books down.
And what happened when you asked for your books? Who are you talking to?
I was talking to her roommate, my homegirl, Pat Murphy now. But I told Pat, I said, Pat, I need my books. Pat told me, he said, well, I'll go get them. I said, no, have her bring them down. So I heard later that she didn't want to come down at first.
So he asked my roommate, who was already downstairs, say, tell Carolyn to bring my books down. And so I said to her, well, take them on down. And she said, no, he doesn't want me to bring them. He wants you to bring them.
So she talked your mother into bringing my books down to me. And let me say this, she had on a pink shift dress with white polka dots in it and some sandals on. And when she walked down them steps, and I was sitting, I looked, I just said, my.
And at that point, I got up and I went ahead down and I took him his books. And that started the relationship.
What did you think of him when you first met him?
He was cute. Nice, handsome guy, very funny, very outgoing, and I just enjoyed being around him.
What did you guys do on a typical date?
Well, back in those days, your dad I didn't have much money. So we did a whole lot of walking around the campus and holding hands. And it was, it was
sweet.
Yeah, we held hands and we stood on the block about 9:30 or 10 o'clock when the girls had to be in the dorm, and I got my good night and et cetera, oh yeah. And she would say, okay, hon, and we'd be nice and sweet to each other. Then I'd head on back across town to where I was living at the time.
For the first year, my birthday came up, he had his aunt bake me the most beautiful cake. And I just thought that was just fabulous. Here, we're in school, cramming, for classes and all. And he took the time to make sure that I got this cake for my birthday on campus. So that was really sweet.
Now, I was speaking to Mother about a time where you two broke up. And I do recall you as a man of Omega Psi Phi, Mom went and dated a man of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity.
Her mistake.
Okay, me being a Delta, he is a Q, and we have a sweetheart song that we sing. So at that time that we broke up, I went out with a Kappa to the dance. So and when we got ready to do our sweetheart song, the Deltas got out on the floor. Whoever you were sweethearts of, if it was an Alpha, a Kappa, or an Omega, you stand in the middle of the circle of Deltas. All the time, I had been stepping out for Omega because that's what he was. And that night, I walked in the middle of the circle with my head up and for a Kappa. She may wear a Kappa's diamond.
They started singing that sweetheart song, and when it got to the part about a Kappa sweetheart, and she stepped out there, and all my fraternity brothers looked at me, and you knew how I felt. It was like, what is she doing standing out there now?
And I hear that she broke up with you because you might have been trying to be a little player.
Omega men were known to be interesting until they decided to settle down. And I just hadn't decided to settle down at that point in my life. Not that I wasn't in love with her. I figured she'll be there when I get through visiting other people, should I say, or doing my thing. But I had no intentions of letting anybody else move in on my territory. That was not going to happen.